All right, quadratics. Tell me, speaking of graphing, tell me what you know about a quadratic when you graph it. No, it has a vertex. What is it? What's it called? What's the shape called? It starts with a P. It's a parabola. It could look like this, or
Are we going to do one of those other guesses?
no, not today. We're going to do something different today. All right, look. That's what the equation looks like, right? What would cause my parabola to be happy or sad, up or down? Negative or positive A. Good job. Tell me what else you know. C is the y-intercept. Somebody said this. Good job, Cindy. What else? What else do you know? This tells me up or down. That's exactly right. This point, we learned a new word for that Friday. Is the vertex. Some people refer to it as what? A turning point. Okay. And it makes sense if you look at the graph because look, I'm going down, 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 down. I stop going down at the vertex and I turn and start going up. That's why it's called a turning point. What else do you know? You know some other things. Line of symmetry, where is it? In the middle of the vertex. This is axis of symmetry. Tell me, how do you find the vertex?
Oh.
Ooh, I know how.
Isn't it like it's a B over? No way.
Yeah. It's opposite B over 2A to find the vertex. That's only half the vertex though, right? That's the x half of the vertex. How do you find the y half of the vertex? That's exactly right. Good job. Plug it in. All right. Now, we did a little activity Friday that introduced you to some new vocabulary. Okay. Turning point was one of them. What we're going to talk about today, we've mentioned briefly but haven't talked about in great detail, but we're going to talk about in a lot of detail. We talked about y-intercepts, but we have not talked a whole lot about x-intercepts. And x-intercepts are very, very, very important. Give me another word for an x-intercept. This was on the sheet that I gave you. I gave you a sheet on graphing, and I said also roots. That was one of them. That's right, roots. Solutions. One more. Starts with a Z. No.
A Z?
Uh-huh.
A row? Zero.
Zeros. Okay. All right. So,
No. Okay, I got something to say.
when we solve by graphing, okay, notice solutions are the same thing as x-intercepts. And x-intercepts are where the parabola is crossing the x-axis, okay? When we solve by graphing, what we're doing is we are finding the x-intercepts. That's all we're doing. First of all, tell me this, before we actually find them, how many x-intercepts or how many solutions does a parabola have?
I'm an excellent.
Ooh, I'm gonna say yes, yes, no, no. Your answers in that order.
Yeah, we could be posting that.
I'm gonna put an XY coordinate plane here.
You want to see the picture?
Shh, no. All right, look. How many solutions does the purple graph have?
Okay.
Solutions are what?
Right there.
Where it crosses the x-axis. How many solutions does the purple one have?
What is solution?
Solution
Oh,
and solution. Solution is another word for x-intercept or 0.
So just on the X side?
Only on the x. This is called a y-intercept down at the bottom. We know how to get that. That's the c. Right now we're talking about solutions. Okay? How about this one?
Okay, what about picking up graph?
How many solutions does the purple graph have? None. It never, ever, ever, no matter what you do, is that ever going to touch the x-axis. Are we all in agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
Ooh, what about this one? Nope, not that. How about the green one? No solutions. No solutions. I don't know. One more. All right, Shaija. Push that down some so you're not distracted by that until we get to the calculator part.
Oh, you're talking about the computers?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I didn't know it.
In this case, my vertex is sitting on the x-axis. How many solutions?
One.
All right. So I want you to see the difference. There are 3 different types of solutions that I can have with parabolas. I can have one solution, and that's when the vertex actually sits on the axis. I can have 2 solutions where it crosses in 2 places, or I can have no solutions if it never crosses. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be finding Ricky those solutions. How you going to do this if you're asleep?
Oh, come on now. You know we don't use all words. Come on. My bad.
All right, solve by graphing. Here's what we're going to do. The first thing we're going to do, let's say my equation is x squared. Actually, let's say I have x squared minus 2x equals 3. My very first step that I'm going to do is I'm going to make the equation equal 0. Okay. So, Ricky, that's correct. I would minus 3 to make it equal 0. So I got x squared minus 2x minus 3 equals 0. The second thing is that I'm going to do is I'm going to graph with my calculator. So take out your calculator and let's graph x squared minus 2x minus 3.
Are we going to have this calculator on the test? On the
We're going to try to get enough rounded up for y'all for your senior. You got your own, that's your own. That's the best thing to have. All right, remember we're going into y equals. And we're going to do x squared minus 2x minus 3. And I'm going to hold up right here because I want to make sure y'all are with me. Y equals. Hit y equals. Hit y equals. Hit y equals. All right, I just want it entered right now. We're going to talk about how we're going to use it to graph and all, but right now I just want it entered for you. All right. First thing I want want you to do. See the button that says Zoom?
Blue.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I want you to hit Zoom 6.
Zoom the number 6.
Yep. Because that's going to give you a normal window here.
Look at it. They just say they're brown.
No.
What is really different? Damn, they don't keep it about them, bro. Let me see your calculator.
All right. This is what it looks like. Now, first thing I want you to tell me based on this graph.
I don't know. How many solutions?
How many solutions? How many solutions? Look at your graph. No, it's not. You did some things.
No. Alright, what's the question again?
How many solutions?
It's 3. It's one on the right. No, that don't count.
There's 2. There's 2. Why? Because it crosses in 2 places on the x-axis. I don't know what it was doing before. It's fixed now.
Oh. This is not my desk. My desk needs to do that later. Oh, you can come over there. Oh, I was shaking my leg like this. That's why y'all need to have everything on your computer.
All right, here's what I want you to do. You can kind of look at this, right?
Yeah.
All right, we know it's 2 solutions. Because it crosses in 2 places, right? Here and here. So the answer is going to be what those values are where it crosses. Now remember, an x-intercept is where y equals 0. Okay? So we want to know what are the solutions. So we want to know when is y equal to 0. Use your table. Okay? So look at the graph and say, it looks like it's crossing where? Which 2 places? Which 2 x values? -1 and what? And 3. Are we all in agreement? It looks like that, right? It looks like the 2 answers are going to be -1 and 3. But to check and make sure, go back into your table, second graph, and hit -1. What's the y? That's right. It's got to be 0 if it's a solution. Then put in 3. It equals 0. So those are my 2 solutions.
Oh, I want to know
Okay.
where I never hit enter. Dang, that's crazy, dog. Wait, what?
Okay.
How you got that?
All right, look. So what I did first was I looked at my graph and I said, it looks like I've got -1 and 3 as the 2 places that it's crossing. So that's what I wrote down to start with, but I need to check and make sure. So to check and make sure, I went into my table, second graph, and I typed -1 and 3. And see how it gave me 0 for both of those? Then that tells me they are solutions, they are zeros. Now, if you weren't sure, you could also go in here and just start putting in some numbers till you found the one that was 0, but that's a little bit harder. All right, let's do another.
Okay, so what is that?
Why can't every grade have a what?
Okay, so what time the bus come on Wednesday? Because first of all, in first and second grade, I was I'm never gonna say that. I was seeing the responsible. No, we make the
All right, look at this one. Tell me what I need to do first. Make it equal 0, right? So to make it equal 0, I'm going to minus 1. All right, let's graph it and let's see what happens. Be very careful when you graph this because this is the negative button, this is the subtraction button. Okay, they're different. You'll get an error if you use the wrong one. All right, negative x squared plus 2x under the 3, minus 1. All right, let's graph it and look at it. Huh? What is that? That's right. Look at your graph. I don't know. Look at your graph and tell me how many solutions you have. One solution, only one, right? So I'm looking for one solution. So let's estimate, let's look. What does it look like it might be? Looks like it might be positive 1, right? How am I going to check that? Go to your table. Second graph. And hit 1. It's 0, right? So perfect. X equals 1 is my solution. Pretty easy. Let me show you one more scenario.
What you think, Today is Monday. It's Monday. Let's think. Monday. You said we always have, we don't know. We always have on Monday.
This one is a little bit different. This one is a little bit different. Looks a little bit different. What do I need to do first?
You need to switch it around.
Switch it around. I need to move the 4x. Now, when I move it, remember my quadratic should look like this, right? The squared should come first, the x should come next. Standard form. That's exactly right, Franklin. So I'm going to do x squared minus 4x plus 7 equals 0. I want you to graph this one. Graph it and look at it and tell me what's going on.
Please don't say it out loud, say it. All right.
That's right. Don't say it out loud. Just get it, and you're going to be excited when you see it.
I don't know what to tell you because it's not exciting at all.
You're not excited?
No, I'm really not. Oh, no.
Ask the solution.
Wait, let me say. Didn't I just say, don't say it's not loud? Maybe he was asleep and covered with head.
I want you to
There's no solution, right? You probably daydreaming.
Guess what happens when that's the case? If it doesn't have any solutions, I can't go back and check or find any solutions, so I'm done.
So now
I think it's exciting because look at all the work you didn't have to do. All right, look, several of yours are going to look like this. They're going to say, remember, solutions are not the only word for x-intercepts, right? What does it mean when I write f of x? F of x just indicates that it's a function. It's the same thing as, come on, y equals. It's the same thing, okay? What if I gave you an equation that didn't have zeros in it, it's got a y in it, or an f of x, or a g of x, whatever it is, but I said find the zeros. What if I gave that to you? What would happen? What does that mean to do? Try it. You're exactly right, Kamari, that's right. Find where it crosses the x-axis. Zeros and solutions are the same terms. They're synonyms. They're the same thing. So I'm doing the exact same thing. So I'm going to graph it. Y equals x squared plus 6x minus 7, right? Wow, that one goes down far, right? But that's okay. How many solutions does it have, or how many zeros does it have? 2. So I have 2 zeros. What does it look like those zeros might be? Negative 7 and maybe positive 1?
Yes.
How would I know if that's right? You check it. Negative 7, 1. How do I know if they're right? It's equal to 0. Now, as you graph, let me just say a couple little things. Remember how we did zoom 6 when we first started? If you go back in that zoom, notice you can zoom out and you can zoom in. If you start losing your graph, in other words, like maybe I want to say, I want to zoom out, I want to hit number 3, so I hit zoom 3 and then I hit enter. It takes me out a little further. I can't see my tick marks anymore, okay? So you might have to hit trace to start going around the parabola, okay? Trace will give you a little spider there. But here's the thing. If you start zooming in and out, you start losing your points a little bit. So if you can get it on a zoom 6, that's the best thing. If you've messed with your screen and you don't know what is what, always your go-to is to always go back to zoom 6, and that gives you, it goes out to 10, up to 10, over to 10, and down to 10. Okay? It's a standard window. All right, tell me what you think.